Welcome to World Revolution, a podcast where we take hobbyist, cult, or otherwise unknown role-playing games absolutely seriously. So I'm Leroy, and like last time, I'm joined by John.
Hi!
And, yeah, and I was going to tell a joke, but, I'll save that for a later podcast. So instead, I'll just say, how are you doing, John?
Doing really well. No jokes here. This is a very serious podcast. But serious games.
Yeah, I won't tell any jokes, and we don't talk about any joke games, and... Yeah, only the highest art. Only the highest art on this.
That's World Revolution. The revolution of just talking about super serious games.
And speaking of no jokes, it's been exactly 1 month since the last episode. And so, feeling pretty good about our pace, and we're going to continue to make timely and engaged episodes, on games that people don't really talk about.
Excellent. But that was the pilot episode. This is the premiere.
Right. Yeah, this might as well be the first episode.
There you go.
It's every episode's your first episode, if you feel like it.
Yeah. In a way, every episode is every day is the last day of our lives.
Every day is your first day of your life. Every day is the last day of your life. Sure.
In a way, we die when we go to sleep.
No. At least I don't, because I have to dream every night. But anyways, this month we're talking about a game called Slime&co and Company. It is a comedy RPG that debuted in demo form. I don't know how many times. The one I played came out in 2002, made by Fernie Productions. And I don't know who or what Fernie Productions is. The Slime&co is truthfully vaporware, and it's not available for download. I got the game from John.
I sent an email. I sent an email to the Hotmail account that shows up in the credits, and it bounced. And then I found a GameFAQs account that last posted in 2013, and attached to that account and sent it a message. So, if I get in touch with the creator of this game, then we can bring that up on a later podcast.
That would be cool.
Yep.
But yeah, so I guess I could say John has a childhood attachment to the game. And so,
in that I played it as a child, yes.
Yes, literally.
Yep.
And so I gotta know, why'd you make me play this?
Why did I make you play this game?
Yeah, why'd you make me play this?
'Cause it was a tiny, weird-ass game. I think it was the first RPG Maker game I played to completion. And I did so a couple times, because it kind of captured my imagination as a little kid.
So it was, formative for you in a way.
Yes, exactly. I played a lot of freeware, and this was near the start of that, because I kind of got into RPG Maker culture more than before I got deep into, the late aughts, early aughts, kind of boom with a bunch of stuff, Game Maker kind of getting more traction in larger publications. So I was just hanging out in weird RPG Maker forums, and that was kind of my first big internet community experience.
I think there are a good number of people who can relate to that.
Yep.
From, near our generation, at least.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them. I just would go on Google and search free games, and then that's how I ended up playing freeware.
Yeah. I was 12 years old, maybe 10 years old, and I would be on forums talking with people and making friends, and then playing their games. It was really cool.
I was definitely on forums when I was 12 years old, but I wasn't doing that. I was playing Smash Bros.
Excellent. Also very good.
Yeah.
Not quite laughing. There are no jokes on this podcast.
Right. I know, I just have to laugh even when there's not a joke. It's like a reflex.
That's okay.
It's not funny. It's just a very serious laugh.
Okay, that's acceptable then.
But so that's pretty cool. What was that like? What was it like being 12 years old on the internet?
Let's see. I think most of the people I was hanging out with were 16, 15, 16. Is kind of the vibe, I think, looking back on it. So 4 or 5 years older than me. Which is sort of how my social progression has been in life generally. So now I'm hanging out with a bunch of late 20-year-olds. It's more varied now. But yeah, so they would be a bunch of teens nerdy ass teens like trying to make cute little RPG Maker games and not finishing almost any of them, but like putting up little demos and being excited about it.
Finishing game is just too hard. I understand.
Yep. And yeah, that was like really cool, informative, having that really community, tight knit little communities with lots of in jokes and assholes and wretched shit. Like the same community I was on had like this section of the site where the person would post like rants about all the things that piss their teenage self off, and that linked me to like Maddox and shit, which is another internet hole that one I'm glad I definitely got out of fast. Is the whole realm of asshole internet personalities that...
Right, like something awful and stuff.
Yeah. And it used to be they'd write the big, long text screeds, and now they're all on YouTube, like, getting super mad. I think Maddox is too, which is really funny.
Yeah, Maddox is on YouTube.
God, that's weird. It's weird when people that you feel like aren't around anymore are, like...
Still around.
Are
and
still
making
around.
Money.
And making money.
Yeah, it reminds me that the Zero Pronunciation guy also used to be just, wrote blog posts the exact same kind.
Yeah, exactly. And then made videos and is somehow still making videos.
Somehow.
So to be nice and mean.
Yeah, basically those are people that exist. That's my opinion on them.
Yep. But it was so that was my first forum, was a game making community basically. I think I joined like a Mega Man one right before that, but I was barely on there. And then I joined these forums, which was really cool.
The first forum I joined was GameFAQs. I didn't post that much though. I used to think the posters on GameFAQs are intimidating, but then, you go on the forums now and they're morons. I'll be frank, they're all morons, and I can't believe, the passage of time can be weird.
Yeah, all my forum experiences have been like home pages that people made and then built up and then like just accrued a friend circle around the forum circle around that. Like Socks Make People Sexy was my biggest one, and that was just Polly's homepage that wound up turning into this community, which is really cool, I think.
Yeah, that is cool. So I read the ZZT book by Anna Anthropy, which would be maybe my only knowledge recollection of that kind of tight-knit developer community. Yeah,
I got a lot of like nostalgia feelings reading that book, because it was kind of the same. It seems like it was for Zero's tweens, tweens and teens, RPG Maker, and those communities were kind of what ZZT was for kids in the 90s.
Yeah.
Which is really neat.
You could see yourself in it, basically. You're like, I understand this, like, because I felt like a tourist, right? I was like, oh, this is cool, but I'm reading it like it's art history, but for you, it's like more real.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, ZZT's got, I think the kind of the modern ZZT is sort of RPG Maker. There's a number of differences, mainly how the art is a lot more representative, and RPG Maker is generally just scoped a lot bigger, which I think probably hinders it in comparison to something like ZZT, because everyone wants to make a big epic RPG. It's right there. It's right there in the name. It's really hard to scope down properly, I think, with RPG Maker, and that's sort of its limitation, and also something really cool and beautiful about it. So,
did people like to rip each other's assets, or were there arguments about that? Or, I mean,
people would post like sprite sheets that they made,
and they'd share them with each other.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
Yeah, that's cool.
And also steal so many assets from Super Nintendo games. Like, obviously. Like, all of the... I have nothing but love for thieving old pixel art to make your weird games. I love that.
I think people should do it still today, right? Like,
I certainly do.
Yeah, it's like an easy to use resource. I don't know.
Yup. I stole some photographs off of Google Image Search for Her Lullaby and just ran them through a bunch of filters.
Now they're your photos.
Now they're mine.
But okay, to be frank, we're not pro art stealing, but like corporations, screw them.
Yeah. No, if you're putting it out for free is sort of my sort of line. I think if you're selling something, then you probably shouldn't be stealing people's art to make it.
Right, exactly.
But if you're just putting a bunch of cool shit out for free,
if you are selling something, you can find stuff distributed for free very easily.
Yeah, and that's another really nice alternative. Like I used exclusively Newgrounds Audio Portal music and Sphyxer for Fugitive, and I did that for a long time.
And Fugitive has good music.
Yeah, it's all from the Newgrounds Audio Portal. I went out and reached out to each of those devs afterwards and been like, "Hey, thanks for this. I made a game." And what else? And then I, except for the death sound effect, which I stole from Defender.
So I think like one of my favorite quotes in the ZZT book was, I think it was by Draco, but he was ruminating basically that like everyone making games, they weren't like trying to impress anyone. They were just making the games for themselves to like, not even necessarily to prove themselves, but just because they had something to say and something to make it. And that's like the impression I got from the Slime game. Now, the Slime game is a dumb game, but you can like hear and feel the author's voice from it constantly. Also because they break the fourth wall all the time.
For better and for worse.
Yeah, for better and for worse. And that's kind of an unpopular mode of development still in video games. If you're going to have an explicit voice or a shown author voice, it's usually only to make the game personal in a way that's painful, right? It's to express, which, I'm not going to knock on that, but,
of course.
If you're going to make a fun or goofy game, usually the developer has to hide their personality as much as possible and express through like a limited tool set of, mechanics and art design.
Because we're trying to impress people. Like you and me are trying to impress people with our art. Like,
yeah,
I
can't deny that.
Yeah, there's definitely an element of like, we don't have that kind of straightforward earnestness, I think, that you get from a lot of these old games, or even like going on Mario Maker or RPG Maker fests on 3DS and just looking at the weird shit people are putting out. Like, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Because people aren't taking things so seriously.
I mean, I found it inspiring in that, and I won't mince my words, I told Max, who people know as the other half of Extra if you know him, and I told him that I want to make a really long and shitty RPG in RPG Maker now.
Yes!
And it might be some years from now. I don't know when I'll do this, but I will do this. Like, I'll grace everyone with a really shitty game, but at the same time it's a passion project, and it becomes hard to ascertain how shitty it is or how serious I'm being. Because that's the impression I haven't played a lot of RPG Maker games, but I've played a lot of, I'm not even going to get the word right, but the DOS RPG Maker, the OH.
Oh, cool.
RPG.
Oh, cool.
You know what I'm talking about?
Very vaguely. I thought before 95.
I'm gonna actually get the acronym so people listening can understand what I'm talking about.
All right, is it before 95?
Well, I think.
Or is that around the same time?
I think it was 98 or something when the actual the editor came out.
What am I thinking?
But
of?
It's it's OHRRPGCE.
Okay, so this isn't Enterbrain and ASCII and all them.
No. It is. It's freeware.
Cool.
It's it's the official Hamster Republic role playing game creation engine.
I've never heard of this in my life. Actually,
really?
Yeah.
From the Wikipedia page, it's supposed to be an open source all-in-one game creation system. It was designed to allow quick creation of 2D role-playing games. Cool. And it was written in Quick Basic in 1997.
What? Hey, Quick Basic was my first programming language.
Nice.
That's my shit. All right.
I've used the engine, and it's like. I mean, it's like playing it. It's all syntax is through a DOS if you don't download a GUI for it, and it is extremely hard to make anything in it, despite it being despite it being used for like easy access for people. There are modern like GUIs for it though, so
kind of like RS sounds like kind of level of like exposure, kind of like RSD Game Maker, the one Eric John's really into?
I don't know that.
Okay.
Oh, wait. I think I do. It was a mail order game maker, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was called RSD, is Game-Maker. The Cyclus person made some games in it,
Yeah.
among other things. And Eric John Russell Tarn? Adirac.com, you can play Builder, which I think is kind of an amazing, perfect game in it.
Oh, was Builder made with Game-Maker?
Yeah, it was.
That's cool.
Yeah. Also, I have a test game that Eric John put together that is completely gorgeous and excellent, but he hasn't worked on he wants to finish the final boss, and it's been like a year. I really want to share it with folks.
Actually, I remember that engine because of the Seekless developer made games in it, but I've only read about them. I haven't played them.
Yeah, and Eric John wrote those on the...
Yeah, I have insert credit, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
Adirac.com or insert credit, one of them.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then, what's Seekless person's name? Whatever, he also made games in ZZT, so kind of the connective tissue.
Right, yeah, I found that, I saw that in the ZZT book, and I was like, wow.
Clism, with a 5.
I have Clism's ZZT game downloaded, but I haven't played it yet. I
did, it's good. I like it. I mean, my favorite ZZT is mine, but...
Yeah, it's probably good. The description sound good, but
Alright, you were talking about the DOS one?
Oh yeah, but I think I don't know really have... Well, I don't have much more to follow up from that, except that I've played some really shitty games in it, but I was like impressed by them because there were spelling mistakes that seemed intentional, but other ones that weren't, and then I just left them both in. Like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need you don't need grammar, you don't need game design, you don't need graphics.
Rhett's oldest games have a lot of that energy. The first Project N3s have like lots of spelling mistakes, but they're like there's so much effort in them too. Like,
yeah,
it's that juxtaposition, I think, of like, I'm making something fun for myself, and also I'm going to put so much time and love into it, which is cool.
But I'm not going to polish, I'm not going to sand it down.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to look cool, I'm just making this thing I want to make.
Mm-hmm. God, it's really nice. So, actual slime game, is that enough prefacing?
Yeah, I mean, I can... Well, it's like hard to talk about it, I guess.
Right.
But not that hard to talk about it.
Alright, when I started playing it, alright, so here's the broad strokes. It's like 2 to 3 hours long, I think.
Yeah.
It ends on like a cute, like, non-cliffhanger.
It's also a legitimate ending, I think, but...
And it says, see the rest of the game in 2003.
But, I like to make it brief, it's a slime who had his entire family killed by some heroes. And now the slime wants to get back by being a really important boss slime.
I just realized the heroes never show up again.
No, of course they never show up again.
Alright, continue.
The slime doesn't even want to get revenge. He just wants to be important because he's sad. He's a sad slime.
Relatable.
And but he's very inept and competent, and he's bossy and mean, and he kind of bumbles away through the scenario, through his life. But despite a lot of setbacks, but through with help with friends he makes along the way, he ends up becoming a evil monster boss.
Inexplicably.
Inexplicably. Even the game says, by some miracle he did it. I don't know how he did it. Who cares?
Yeah.
He did it. And then so he makes the secret headquarters on an island, and he becomes, a bossy monster. The first job he decides to do is to steal the king's crown, which goes disastrous, and his shipwrecks onto an unmarked island where
you kind of make it sound like this is the start of the story, and this is near the end of the story.
This is the end. This is actually the end. He goes to an unmarked island where he finds the last remaining red slime, an ancient, super powerful slime, and
God, we should have started with the lore. We should have started the episode just with reading the lore, the lore drop.
I'm like already laughing
with the Dragon Ball art that
Yeah.
floats over the screen, super seriously all of a sudden.
My favorite part is the lore dump at the end of the game. But you find out that in the past, it's kind of like a Dark Souls lore story.
Yes.
In the past, dragons were terrorizing the world, and they were unstoppable. But the gods thought that dragons were becoming too powerful, so they made a race able to match the dragons.
Their chosen race.
Which were the slimes. The way they did that was by imbuing a rock with magical slime power called the Legendary Rock of the Slimes. That's the actual title of the rock.
Yep.
And if a slime touches the Legendary Rock of the Slimes, they become a red slime. A super powerful slime with power that can rival the dragons. And at the end of the game, you actually get to touch the Legendary Rock of the Slimes and become an ancient slime. And then that's it, the game ends.
Why do we start there? Okay. I think the game, I think the first half is probably the best for me.
Yeah.
Where you're meeting a bunch of characters and having these kind of cute set pieces. There's a blue slime that keeps wanting to join your team and then helps you out constantly. And every time the green slime says, "Go away, you freak."
Yeah.
I don't want a blue slime on my team. I'll be a laughing stock. My favorite was when it sets up a big boss fight, but then the boss just beats up your slime out in a cutscene, and he can't do anything. And then the blue slime walks over and pushes a rock on top of him, and the rock is set up 3 or 4 minutes in advance when you're walking through the dungeon. It's like
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, and it's a good setup and payoff. It's like
you go up to the rock, you think it's a puzzle, and slime comments on it. It's just a rock. It's just a rock. It's nothing new.
God. There's a lot of really dumb bad jokes, and then there's a lot of pretty good jokes.
Yeah, the game's actually funny.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of my favorite jokes was, well, first of all, your antagonist's name is Dave Ron, which sounds like it sounds like a British lord's name.
When I saw Dave Ron, I felt like some resonance, memory. What's Dave Ron? Dave Ron? And then I realized, no, I just remembered playing this game 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And the protagonist being named Dave Ron.
I was just thinking Lord Dave Ron of the Badminton House. I don't know. He's just...
There's a Dark Souls boss.
Dave Ron's a funny name to me because it's just two names put together. It's
Yes.
Dave Ron. And I don't know how intentional that is. I don't know if he thought it was a funny name, so he named him Dave Ron, or he just this guy's named Dave Ron really seriously. I don't know. It's funny. And then another one of my favorite jokes is the king is wearing a cape that says "Kick Me" on it, just inexplicably stitched into the cape. And it's just a stupid visual gag. But it took me way off guard because never ever in a video game do you see a visual gag that low bar and that crass and that lame. And I saw it and I just died laughing.
One of my favorite ones was early on when he's trying to get the boss permit so he can be a boss slime.
Yeah.
And then he's near in order to take the test, he has to pay 2,000 GP, which is way more money than you've gotten from fighting enemies, which are level 1 adventurers for the most part.
Yeah.
And then your second slime party member just walks up and goes, "Oh, here, I've got that," and just pays it.
Yeah, just pays it off.
It's oh, you think this is gonna be a big thing, but then it's not. Did you explore the swamp, by the way, with the Chrono Trigger music?
Yeah, I went through the swamp.
What's the payoff there?
Okay, at the end, there's a cave at the end with a gambler who lost his family and all his friends and his job because he has a gambling addiction.
Aww.
And Slime says, "Oh, well, why don't you come to my castle and set up a casino there?" And he's like, "No, I don't want to gamble anymore. I hate that. I'm trying to go clean." And he's like, "Yeah, but I want to, it'll be pretty fun, well, you know you want to gamble. He's like, yeah, I do. All right. He joins.
Slime's such a dick.
And so he joins. He's in your castle. You could play some mini games with the now relapsed gambling addict.
Oh no! That's the only side quest I didn't do. I think I got the chicken on my team.
Yeah,
that was great because it was this dungeon that goes on way too long, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to backtrack through this. But then it just brings you into the house of the guy that wanted the chicken or the banjo.
Yeah.
And the chicken's like really powerful.
And the chicken can talk.
Yep.
Cletus Prince Jr. is his name.
All right, so there's a lot of good jokes. When you're the checkpoint guards that are blocking you, and then you just but then you can just walk around
right out of Monty Python, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's explicit Monty Python references, right?
Yeah.
There's a handful of explicit references that are so lame. There's a ton of music and art that's ripped. My favorite was the inexplicable like Super Castlevania 4 treasure room early on. And that was great because I played this game before I got that far into Castlevania 4. So now whenever I play Castlevania 4, I think about Slime Game because that's what the song's from, right?
Oh, it's the Slime Game song.
Yeah, it's the Slime Game song.
That's awesome.
Oh. It's like a kind of jaunty tune too. So when you play it in Castlevania, it's like, whoa, that's kind of weird. Ugh. God, I really like it.
Yeah, it's a good game. I wrote here that I liked the Slime Game more than I like Mario Odyssey, so
it's a good palate. I played Mario Odyssey and then Breath of the Wild like one after the other, so This was a good palate cleanser. I'm still recovering. It's been like a month and a half or something, and I'm still recovering from that. I played like nothing but Michael Bro games for 2 weeks, and then I just haven't played any video games besides this.
Yeah, I liked Mario Odyssey while I was playing it, but I don't. It's just such a product, you know.
Yeah, it's a big Nintendo game. It's the kind of thing that I really liked it, and I really like Zelda. I'm really glad that there are things that aren't that I can cleanse my palate with, like Slime Game.
But yeah, I think if I was to make any point of comparing the two games, is that
of comparing A Slime Bent on Revenge and Co. by Fernie Productions with the Nintendo Switch video game Super Mario Odyssey, released in 2017.
I'm comparing these two games.
All right, go ahead.
The only point I can make is that the Slime game is actually a really fucking good game, and like a lot of the reasons game making seems intimidating to people is that we are ashamed of games that look, sound, and play like Slime and Co.
Mm-hmm.
Because the games have to look, they have to look gorgeous, and you want to
with original hard assets, of course.
Yes, of course, and you need to tweak all of the mechanics. You need to make sure the game is completely unique, but it also comes from this lineage of genre games and you're pushing that lineage forward. So that's how you make a good game. Which is, that's actually a buttload of shit that most people who make art don't do. That's just way too much effort.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I wanted to start a punk band, I wouldn't be like, man, how am I going to reinvent punk? Who gives a fuck? That's not the point of starting a band.
Yeah.
And we don't need more games that look like Chrono Trigger. We don't need another game that looks like Super Metroid, because it's not because those games are bad. It's because those games aren't going to go away. You can just turn on your emulator and play them.
And they're great. I like them a lot.
And the Slime game is a game that breaks all the rules of good game design, but it's still a wonderful game regardless.
I actually really liked how how small the numbers are. Like, it actually has kind of a nice Dragon Questy crunch to it that a lot of RPG Maker games don't have.
It actually has a decent little curve to it, even though there's like no spells or strategy to speak of. But if you go through, if you're playing the game straight through, you get to the Cletus Prince dungeon, you're actually going to feel oh no, I should have brought more herbs.
Yeah, and then when you beat him, or there's a moral choice, you can kill Cletus Prince Jr., or you can have him join your party. It's like Magus. and I had him join me. So I don't know how that boss fight goes. But then he joins your party. And then you're like, oh, now I have a fourth person sending out hits and can use herbs. This is great.
Yeah.
I used the magic wand, too, which I was like, oh, my God, I hope this doesn't... I hope this goes on forever. And then it ran out right on the last boss fight. So I was like, oh, I'm glad that didn't use that before. No.
I didn't use a magic wand. There's also a lot of equipment and stuff you can get, because the game is implied to keep going. Like, it's supposed to be this... Or it seems to be like this Suikoden setup where you're supposed to collect monsters from all over the world. But, I mean, that's never going to happen.
The party select screen has, like, 50 slots or something.
It's massive.
There are, like, 4 characters you can collect. It's like, you were ambitious there, huh, buddy?
I mean, it's funnier if I think of it like it's really big, but there's only 4 characters in the game.
Mm-hmm. You have this giant hub that I never had reason to return to.
Right. There's no reason to go back unless you want to switch your party member if you get the skeleton and the chicken.
Do the gambling. Yeah, I did get the skeleton.
Do the gambling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the gambler doesn't join your party. I did collect every party member. Huh.
Yep.
That's so funny. Fuck.
But yeah. I'm comparing those games just because all I'm saying is that, you can make games that take a day to make or a week to make. Because those kinds of games are games you can make when you're really busy and when you're stressed out or when you're frustrated. Like, you could still make a game like slime&co.
Yeah.
It's a good game. I like playing it.
I really like games like Slime&Co too. And Slime&Co is like a game that is like trying to be something really big and ambitious, which is what makes it so funny and also like not together, but it's a fun journey. And also it kind of gets more and more fragmented as it moves along.
Right.
Like when you get on the ship and there's this text box, it's like, I don't know, they're in jail now. Just go on ahead. Whatever.
Yeah, it goes like, they got on the ship, but the other ship didn't leave yet, but somehow they run into each other and they got captured, but it's all just a text box.
Yeah, and it's like written weirdly, so you don't really know what they're saying, and then they're just, we're in that one prison cell set piece. And then they escape it in another text box. Like, they figured out how to get out of there.
Yeah, and it's basically just like, I don't feel like making this part, but you get what's going on.
It's like you could just trace the dev getting like more bored.
Yeah,
which is really funny.
It's really funny.
Like it starts out with the test that's just like, I don't know, there are more puzzles. Let's just skip ahead, please. And then it just does that more and more until the end when it's just like, then their Devron is going to go to there, and then he's over there, and he went through this whole training sequence, and it's like 2 minutes. And then it cuts to the climax, cliffhanger.
And then it ends.
And then it ends. I liked how the final boss fight, Slime isn't in your party. So you're left alone with just Slime number 2 and the HQ builder to fight this boss. And it's like, oh no! Ugh. Classy.
So I guess I was
ahead.
trying to say the game's crappy, but you can see how it actually it has good ideas just by doing random stuff.
Yeah, it says jam. He's just jamming. He or she or they. I don't actually know. I
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Okay.
I was just assuming from the 12-year-old tone, but yeah, that's just an assumption.
Yeah, and also from my experiences on forums, which are very kind of dominated. I think that's was a lot of true with ZZT too. But there's also a lot of people who weren't and were figuring shit out and found solace in those spaces, and that's so fucking rad.
Yeah, that's. I mean, okay, you might see me on the TL talking about. I might sound nihilistic, right, when I talk about art, and I'm like, art's not that important. Art. What I mean when I say stuff like that, what I'm trying to say, even though I'm just hinting at it and implying it, is that, art is great, but the reason art is great is because people make it. Art is great because it has people coming together, but critics get in this mode where they're really focused on what art has to say, the messages that art has that are divorced from, just getting together and talking about it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say that's wrong. I just don't necessarily line up with it. I don't agree with it. I think criticism should be focused on fostering community, because I make games to not communicate like grand ideas or for the craft of it or whatever. It's because I just want to reach out to someone basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like my attitude toward criticism as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I really like games like Slime&Co, where I can, I'm like hanging out with the author in a weird way.
Yeah, I totally feel that. We're all going to die.
It's true.
And not only that, all of our art is going to die.
Yeah.
Like paper melt, paper burns, computers, flash drives corrupt, internet site, like URLs die. It may be like have almost happened already, like with Slime&Co, or have happened, like a bunch of games we can't play anymore, or it may happen in 200 years, or 1,000 years, but our art is always going to die too. So, like, that's just kind of a thing that we need to make our peace with, and if we make our peace with it, just like with life, it kind of helps us not take things so seriously. Which I think is nice.
Yeah. That's all true. I mean, that need to be cool or impress people or make the great art, it's not going to stop you from dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And knowing that's not going to stop us from wanting to be cool.
No.
Yeah.
I still want to be cool sometimes.
Yeah. That's part of the human condition too, probably.
I tweet stuff all the time. Like, why did I tweet that? Why don't I have a private account? Why do I tweet these things? But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
having
cool.
to vent, having to be cool, having to balance all of the human experience. And a lot of people did that by putting weird RPG Maker games online. I think the game that is still present in the public consciousness, that kind of embodies a lot of the spirit, is probably Barkley Shut Up and Jam.
Yeah. I mean, Barkley's like the something awful version of this. It's sardonic, it's crass, it knows its audience, or it knows its hypothetical audience. But it's also just like, it doesn't, I mean, they're just having fun. They don't really care that much either.
And also just, it's really funny and really good and paced well.
It is still really fucking funny.
Yeah, and also has some good game design, kind of like Slime Game does. Like, Slime Game does the low numbers and the crunch to the fights. Like, I will take that over, I don't know, and Ni no Kuni, hyper sophisticated progression systems, and gotta feed your monsters, and systems and systems and systems, and gotta keep tutorial for this and this. Give me something like Dragon Quest or fucking Slime&Co, where you just, what you're doing. You press and fight, and you can build the HQ builder has the ability to build walls in front of you, which will raise your defense. And you can do it multiple times, and it stacks. God. I'm sorry, I was trying to think of, bad RPG. Modern RPG
a good
combat.
pick.
Yeah.
I always beat up on Persona.
Aww.
Which is I like Megaton. And Persona's not even that much of an offender.
Yeah, I mean, I think Persona fights are pretty crunchy for the most part.
Yeah, they just have pacing issues, which is something different. But not a Persona podcast.
Not a Persona podcast.
No.
And I've only played 4, so I don't have enough context there.
They're all the same. Well, 3, 4.
Well, they're all the same, except one of them is sad and death, and one of them is truth, and the other is we're gonna beat up the fascists, but also we still hate queer people. So sorry.
They're all the same, pretty much.
Okay, fair enough.
They're all the same in the sense, yeah. They have the similar problems, I should say.
Okay, well, I'll probably like 3 when I get to it. That one seems cool, and I really like 4, but I know what you mean. I get it, is kind of what I'm saying. So
I have more stuff, but I don't even know if I need to say it anymore.
Yeah, I feel the legendary Rock of the Slimes.
Legendary Rock of the Slimes.
Did they use color text for that? Did you grab a screenshot?
They use red text.
Yes!
I didn't grab a screenshot, but I know for a fact it's colored text.
I wish I grabbed a screenshot. I think I've got to save a bunch of saves throughout, so I can probably go and grab that maybe.
When I hit that scene, I was screaming I've played. Well, I mean, obviously everyone knows Final Fantasy IV, okay? And if you don't,
Yeah.
well, you should, right? And the part where the legendary Rock the Slimes part is literally when Cecil discovers he's a person from the moon. Spoilers for an old game.
Oh my god. That's the thing, is that Final Fantasy IV is also, like, it's basically my favorite RPG. It's basically the best game of all time, I think. I think everyone can basically agree on that. It's ridiculous. It does the same thing as this game, where eventually things just start moving so fast and are kind of fragmented that it just feels like they were sort of just trying to push through and make shit up as they go along. Like when Yang dies, but not really, and then immediately afterwards Sid dies, but not really.
Yeah, they were definitely just making shit up.
Yeah, they were just making shit up as they went along, and making cool set pieces, and making, hey, what if the bad guy has scary organ music, and it's like Star Wars? And just jamming, and had really good game design, and then made basically, like, my favorite thing. So, have more of that spirit, I think.
But I bring that comparison up just because that's actually a common... I guess it's a turn. It's like, here's what's really going on. That happens a lot in RPGs.
Uh-huh.
Another. This is more of a deep plug. I can think of as Sands of Destruction.
That's
get told
DS
early on.
that's the DS game with Masato Kato, right?
Yes, it is. You get told early on the main character is the god destined to destroy the world. But it comes to a point where you actually get that power, and it's a very similar process to when the slime touches the legendary Rock of the Slimes, in that he goes to a shrine and gets imbued with the super special power, and then now he's red. This happens also... This happens also in Breath of Fire 4 when although it has like a parallel plot, so you already know what's going on. The player does, but Ryu does not know that he is a fragmented part of the Emperor Fei Long. I'm just spoiling all these classic games.
That's cool.
And
Is Sands of Destruction a classic?
I think Breath of Fire 4 is a classic at least.
Okay.
Sands of Destruction, yeah.
I still haven't played any of the other Breath of Fire games because I'm really spiteful towards people who don't like Dragon Quarter. Yeah,
the fan base is pretty dumb, but it's a good game.
Okay, I should try 4. The pixel art is so pretty.
It is. It's very pretty. But, yeah, Sands of Destruction, I wouldn't call that a classic. It's just a video game. I played both of them. But yeah, when Ryu finds this out, it comes to a point where he ends up getting, like, the Dragon God powers. And then he's just like, well, now I'm the hero reborn, right? This is a thing that happens in RPGs. It happens at the end of this one. It's extremely funny. You should play it.
Okay. It's not just that they take the default slime art and then recolor it red. That would be one thing. But they paint a little black outline around the sprite and then recolor the inside of it solid red with no shading. It looks so bad.
Yeah, it's awful. You walk around and you see the other, like, default sprites. They look normal, and you look like really neon and garish. Like someone just opened up paint and mashed colors really fast.
Yeah, like, even as, like, a 12-year-old, I had done, like, Mega Man sprite comics, and I was like, you can just recolor. You can pick a lighter shade of red and recolor the middle of them. And
no,
come on, y'all. It would probably be less work. Also, I really like Slime's walking animation. I know that's just a default RPG Maker asset, but in most of these games, you don't get to walk around as a slime, and it's very cute.
It is. It actually is very cute. It gives the game a good, like, rhythm and tempo to it too.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Near the end of the game, they also start having a bunch of dungeons, and the dungeons have, like, a really high encounter rate.
Yeah.
So, like, that's kind of what I meant when I said, like, the first half is better, because by the second half, it's like, oh my god, I'm fighting a lot right now.
And fighting 2 spiders over and over and over again.
Oh my god, 2 spiders and 3 bats, 2 spiders and 3 bats, and 3 spiders and 2 bats.
Right. I mean, it's someone's... the game is what we've been talking about. It's not perfect. They just threw stuff together.
The optional dungeon where you get the chicken, where it's a tower, and on the first floor there's a staircase up, and then a staircase down, and then the one slime says, ooh, we should check the basement, and then the other slime says, no, we're going to the roof, and then you walk up this tower with nothing in it, and then you get to the top, and it's empty, and slime's like, oh, okay.
Well, he also
obviously
says,
we should check the basement.
He also says, oh yeah, I could see the top from outside. It was empty.
And then if you try to go into the basement before that, he says, "No, we're going to the roof."
Yeah.
So it's full of like RPG like language jokes, which is great. Kind of like Final Fantasy IV, which just fucks around with all the different little things, like with the metal, like the magnet cave. This game is doing that, but to just make funny, dumb jokes.
Yeah, but I'd say I've played like comedy RPGs before, but I'd say a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say a lot of those comedy RPGs I've played are kind of like Kusoge, basically.
Mm-hmm.
The difference slime&co does is that it's like really low key and deadpan about it, unless it breaks the fourth wall. But like, I mean, everything is very typical of an RPG Maker game or a console RPG, and all of the jokes are obviously interplaying on the awareness you bring into the game.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone in the game treats it as a really matter-of-fact thing, and they don't really lampshade it that much. They don't really mug for your attention. They just like go along with it in like this kind of a fast and a deadpan pace.
Mm.
And so, I mean, that's why it's actually funny. Whereas I play like I don't know, a random bargain bin DS game like I can't think of the name right now. There's one where you make dungeons and it has awful humor. It's not funny.
Okay.
Someone out there might know the old game I'm talking about.
I think I just figured out my favorite joke, actually. Where
which one's your favorite?
The carpenter says, "I need wood to make your tower." And then and then they go, "I think I remember seeing some wood in the forest." And then you go around the forest dungeon, revisiting it, and then just constantly walking past a bunch of trees. And then there's one differently shaded tree, like different big tree sprite. It's like, oh, and then you examine it, and oh, that's the tree that gives you wood.
Yep.
And I think that
was like, there it is, the wood tree.
I think that's just the most deadpan one, where it's just like, oh, there, now I have wood. While you're walking past all the trees.
Yeah.
Fuck, we should play more comedy games.
Comedy games, the thing about comedy games, they usually suck, actually.
That's true, that's sort of the obstacle there. Have you tried the Breath of Death 7 ones?
I haven't.
I haven't either.
But my impression of them is they don't look that funny.
We could play the Penny Arcade Penny Arcade RPGs.
Oh no.
Paulie actually likes those, but that's the guy that went, or people that made Cosmic Star Hero, which is neat.
Yeah.
Not a comedy RPG.
Not a comedy RPG.
I have not played that one. So yeah. Where does it rank in comparison to Middens?
This game is better than Middens.
Alright, okay. Where does it rank on the art scale? On the important art scale?
There's an... What? Okay.
That was a joke. You don't have to...
I was going to try, but I don't know how hard I could try.
I think that's a little against the spirit. So playing this game, I can link the site on archive.org where I can still download the zip. As far as actually playing it, though, I had to like fuck around with ancient downloads to old RTPs because it won't just run, and also I couldn't get it to run on Windows 10. I could get it to run on Windows 7, and I guess I have got a bunch of these RTP downloads that I could kind of zip up maybe.
Put it like in Google Docs or something.
Yeah, and I don't think I have the energy to make like a step-by-step instructions for doing it, but I can zip up everything I downloaded and then installed and uninstalled randomly and kept trying to run the slime game and then put that up there. And maybe that'll help this game live a bit. Like
the best way would probably be to open it in the editor and then compile it with RTP, but I'm not going to do that either.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
I think you can do that. I don't know how you open finished RPG Maker games, but I'm pretty sure you can.
Oh, cool. If you
I don't know.
Can,
I've never done
amazing.
I've never done it though. But I know you can just compile it with the RTP with the file, like how Yuminiki is.
Yeah. So it needs some extra fuckery in addition to the original download. Probably the best possible thing I could do would be to just record a long play or let's play.
Yeah.
That would probably be the most letting the game live on. But yeah, the important thing so much isn't like that this is some secret lost classic. It's that this was a tiny dumb thing that someone made and put a lot of love into, and it's like 16 years later, and I remember it, and it kind of touched my life.
I mean, if you take like all the games ever made, this is actually what the average game is like.
Yeah.
But most people haven't played them.
Mm-hmm. But then a couple people do a lot of the time, and sometimes it sticks with them. And I know that your games have done that for people, and I know my games have done that for people.
Yep.
And a lot of times it happens without them saying anything. Like, I haven't been able to tell this person that their game touched my life, not even at the time.
Well, you're doing it now.
I'm trying.
2018.
2018. Maybe I can get in touch with them.
Well, I mean, this podcast is a statement, is all I meant, rather than even if they don't find it.
Yeah. The important thing is take that spirit with you. You don't have to take yourself too seriously. You can just jam. You can just sketch. You can just have a good time. And that's the best thing you can do. If you want to make something that like is important, that connects with a whole lot of people, like whatever important means, you can't do it on purpose. There's no way to force that. You have to just make shit that you want to make, and then maybe it'll connect with people. And then you just have to keep doing it, if that's what you want. Because this connected with me, and I don't know if this person made any other games.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well, I forgot to tell John, but next month we're going to be doing an episode on Standstill Girl.
All right, I've never heard of it. Excellent.
As suggested by one of our listeners, Sari, who is at Gay Anime Girl on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also don't know what Standstill Girl is, but I'm pretty sure there's a girl who stands still, right?
Okay. Knowing Sayori, right. It might be very gay, which would be a big plus for me.
Yeah, probably is.
Cool.
I don't know. And we're done. That's it. We're done.
Cool. Do we have a sign-off catchphrase?
No. Should we?
All right. Let's workshop it right now.
Right now. I'm not.
Game on. Jack in. Jack in, players. It's time to play some video games.
Well, you heard them. Game on, Jack in.
Wait, I guess we're ending the podcast, so it should be...
Game out. Gamers, I salute you. Alright, I'm leaving. Bye.
Alright, bye.